In the 15th century, Augsburg was no imperial capital. It was not Rome, not Paris, not even Vienna. But it sat at the crossroads of Europe. Italian silk and spice caravans from Venice, copper and silver from Tyrol, furs and salt from the north, all of it converged here. The Fulger family were merchants in this city of trade. They dealt in cloth, fine textiles carried across the Alps, dyed and sold to princes' courts. Jakob the Elder built the foundations, but it was his sons, especially Jakob the Younger, who transformed a family shop into an empire of finance. Jakob studied in Venice as a youth. There he saw the great banking houses of Italy, the Medicis, the Bardi, and learned that money, properly placed, could be more powerful than any sword. But unlike Florence, Augsburg's merchants were not burdened by papal politics. They had freedom to yield, to risk, to expand. Jakob returned with vision. The Fulger firm would not remain cloth merchants. He would turn to a more dangerous trade: money. In medieval Europe, lending at interest was a dangerous game. The church frowned upon it. Usury was considered sinful. But kings and bishops needed money all the same. Wars drained treasuries, cathedrals devoured stone and silver, and festivals bled noble purses dry. So Jakob Fulger stepped forward. He lent, discreetly, cleverly, sometimes under the guise of partnerships rather than loans. His clients were not ordinary merchants. They were archbishops, dukes, and kings. And once a king owes you money, your power begins. But Jakob was not satisfied with coin alone. He saw deeper. Wealth could be mined from the earth itself. In the rugged Alps of Tyrol, miners carved tunnels into stone, chasing veins of silver. In Hungary, vast copper mines groaned with men and oxen, dragging ore from darkness into daylight. Jakob invested heavily, securing rights to these mines. Through clever contracts and outright monopolies, he controlled Europe's supply of copper, essential for coins, weapons, and trade. Soon, Fulger copper flowed from Central Europe all the way to Antwerp, even as far as India, where Portuguese traders exchanged it for spices. Mining was dirty, dangerous, and costly, but Jakob understood. Those who control metal control money, and those who control money control kings. The road to power often runs through Rome. In the early 1500s, the papacy needed immense sums. Wars in Italy, the splendor of St. Peter's Basilica, and indulgence campaigns. So Jakob Fulger became banker to the popes themselves. He arranged payments for indulgences, transferring wealth across Europe to fund Rome's ambitions. Critics whispered that Fulger's loans fueled corruption in the church, that he was the financier behind the very indulgent system that would one day provoke Martin Luther. If so, then Jakob was not merely a witness to history, he was one of its architects. And then came the moment that would define him. The year is 1519. Emperor Maximilian I has died. The throne of the Holy Roman Empire is vacant. Two great princes stand as candidates. Francis I of France, young, charismatic, already a hero of battles. And Charles of Habsburg, ruler of Spain, Naples, Burgundy, and the New World's riches. The electors, 7 powerful princes, hold the decision. But elections in this age are not swayed by speeches alone. They are bought. Francis pours French gold into Germany. Bribes flow like rivers, but Charles cannot match him coin for coin. Unless he has Jakob Vyncke. Jakob steps forward with staggering sums, lending Charles over 500,000 florins, a fortune beyond imagining. With this money, Charles secures the elector's favor. The votes are cast, and Charles becomes Charles V, Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, the mightiest ruler in Europe. Behind him stands not just an army, not just a dynasty, but a banker from Augsburg. For his gamble, Jakob was richly rewarded. Charles granted him mining monopolies, confirmed his privileges, and relied on his credit again and again. But power bought with debt breeds resentment. Nobles whispered that Vyncke had grown too rich, too arrogant, too indispensable. Pamphlets circulated accusing him of corruption. Commoners cursed him for high prices. Preachers denounced him as the face of greed. Yet Jakob endured. He kept his accounts precise, his contracts ironclad, and his influence secure. He even founded the Vyncke, a settlement of small homes in Augsburg where poor families could live for a token rent of 1 guilder a year. To this day, it remains the oldest social housing project in the world. Charity, perhaps, or perhaps reputation management. Jakob Vyncke died in 1525. His wealth was colossal, but his true legacy was not gold or silver. It was the proof that money could bend the arc of history. He had shown that an election could be decided by loans, that emperors could rise on the strength of a banker's coin. He had demonstrated that the new rulers of Europe might not wear crowns at all, but sit behind letters. In the centuries that followed, families like the Rothschilds, the Barings, and the Rockefellers would follow his path. But Jakob Vyncke was the pioneer. His story is both warning and lesson. That wealth, when concentrated, can decide the fate of nations. That sometimes the most powerful man in an empire is not the one on the throne, but the one who placed him there.